This was the original location of the tree. That large bump in the street has been there about 3 years. We believe it's a tree root from the tallow. Then you have a sidewalk, and then my front yard. This entire area gets suckers all over in front of this lot, all the way up to the porch, way back to the corner. And anytime that tree gets watered, where they've been most prolific is where the most routine watering has taken place during this drought, and that's in the rose bed. It managed to kill an agapanthus and a rose that was in this strip here as well. I get a lot of suckers in this particular agapanthus, but nothing that's killed it so far. These roses are generally lush and full and huge, and they're just getting smaller and smaller and suffering. That spot right there between the two roses used to be a rose almost similar to this one, but it was killed by roots. This small one's always been small, so I don't know that that has anything to do with anything. It does get suckers around it occasionally. This more of a large floribunda frequently gets suckers around it. And then this area that we're moving into here, there was a rose bush there, and here, and there, as well as over there. They've all been killed. It's hard for the roses to compete with roots this size. See, by the time the suckers come up, you know, that's probably the size of a liter bottle. Look at the root system underneath, though, that created it. Also, these suckers have been being cut for over a year, as well as on occasion sprayed with Gly-Star or Roundup, which is what the city keeps suggesting I keep doing. However, it's not stopping the proliferation of this very large root system. I mean, right here is where a gorgeous, deep red rose used to live, and now it's nothing but a large root. This root over here took out both a rose there and here, but when you look at the ground and all the roots that have been unearthed, it's obvious why the rose could not compete. This is a really extravagant system. All of these little hairy pieces and everything all got wound into the root ball of the roses. And frankly, the first 5 roses or so, 4 or 5, I did not know why they were dying. I was told to feed them additional. I was told to irrigate them differently on drip for deep water, and I think all that did was entice the tallow roots that much further, or I should say that much more, and further destroyed the roses. Like this one looks like it's the size of a Coke can, maybe even smaller. And look at all the shoots, many shoots. This particular spot has been chopped so many times I can't even count. And here you can see the somewhat part of the old outline of the old rose that used to be there. Here we go. This is the floribunda right here at its base. There's just no way to water and to provide nutrients to the roses without stimulating growth on this tallow root system. There's some water in there right now because I wanted to rinse it off so it could be easily identified for what it is. I'm highly disappointed that the city kept telling me that these were just seedlings dropped by birds, blown by wind, must have been a different tallow, that all of this was so impossible. So I had to unearth everything to prove that it was quite possible. Nature adapting, and this was a beautiful, like I said, this was just a beautiful rose. It was one of my favorites, and it was just completely destroyed by this system here. It continues to travel, likely under the walkways. This one has been hacked repeatedly. One of the most recently rounded up, ones to be hit with Roundup, but it just does not kill the roots. Which has become now a kitty litter box, used to be a beautiful rose bush, which generally, like this one, used to get about 5 feet or more tall. And yet another one there, which we were so successful in killing the roots there that we actually just destroyed any evidence that the rose bush even existed. This is sad, it's frustrating. They're often smaller suckers that pop up around the grapes, but surprisingly not that many. The grapes, however, this year, which I think might have more to do with the drought than the tallow, I believe this was the single solitary grape fruit that came to be this year. Normally about 40 or more pounds come off that vine. This shrub here is rapidly dying. I have no doubt that it's because these roots and those roots are heading directly for it. It gets deep root watered. That's the only way to water it during the drought, but I think the tallow has been successful in dominating that effort. The mulch, everything's been pulled away from these trees. There were some, or I should say shrubs, to expose the root system. A lot of tallow in there underneath. Okay. I also wanted to mention that this is some of the pieces from the second grinding that the city came out and did. All tallow. These came out of the park strip. This one and this one were growing directly under the sidewalk into the yard. Also impossible, I was told. See, same exact texture. Same exact texture. All the way through the system. So there's no doubt of what sort of tree this is, or that it's associated with the one that was planted way over there in the park strip next to the street.